Kambala, my name is Keleka, and today I'm going to show you guys how to make an embroidery hoop organizer. Now, this is a relatively simple project because all you need is an embroidery hoop. It doesn't really matter if it's already broken or if you only have one of the pieces. Some pieces of scrap fabric, some interfacing you might have laying around, or like I did, you can use felt, as well as a pair of scissors and your hot glue gun. Now I'm going to add in that I'm also going to be using a pair of pinking shears, but that is just so it's a little bit easier to cut around the curve. So the first thing you're going to want to do is untighten your embroidery hoop if it has both size circles. If not, you'll only be focusing on one. So once you have it apart, you're going to take the inner part, going to take the back part of the fabric and lay it on top. And you're going to want to make sure that it completely covers the circle, like so. So once you have it completely covered, then you're going to want to take what you're going to be using as your pocket. Now this is actually 2 pieces of scrap fabric wrapped around some white felt. And I'm just going to measure out exactly where I want the pocket to go. So once I have it to this point, I'm going to lay it down, make sure it is snug in the spot I would prefer it in. Then I'm going to take my outer ring and I'm going to lay it on top. Then I'm going to screw it tight. So say for instance you don't have both pieces, that is still perfectly acceptable. All you have to do at that point is just hot glue it in place, which is going to be one of our next steps. And you want to make sure that this is tight. And it probably will fight you a little bit depending on how thick your fabric is. That is technically the wrong side, but it fits, so we're gonna treat it like a cat treats a box. Okay. And I want to pull it tight, the fabric on the inside, while you're still getting everything else in place. Then once you have it, you now have all this extra fabric on the sides. So that is when you're going to take your scissors or your pinking shears and cut it down. You don't want to cut all of it down, you just want to cut off a good chunk of the excess material that's around. Okay. Now you're going to once again want to tighten up just a little bit, make sure everything's laid out neatly. Then you're going to want to protect your surface, and for that we're going to use an old newspaper because sometimes your fabric might be really thin or really thick, but either way you want to avoid getting it on yourself or your table. And then you're going to want to put a little bit of hot glue on the inner side of the circle. And you're going to fold your fabric down on top of it to hold it in place. If you want, you can then go around and do it on top as well. Or if you want to avoid using a hot glue gun altogether, because either you don't have one or you're not in a place where you can actively use one, you can actually sew it to it, like this one is right here. And you can use a colored piece of thread if you would like, or just a regular piece, and you will just effectively whip stitch it to the hoop. And then once you have it, you can put your scissors or scrap pieces of fabric in it, or even your candy lace. And then you can just hang it wherever you need it to go. Thanks for coming with me for Pinterest, and hope to see you guys soon.